Hey guys, tonight we're going to take a look at Copilot. I know that I received a. Um, Here we go. Here's Jason as well. So
Hey,
we got a few
Jason.
people joining us
Hey,
perhaps tonight. So
how's it
we're going to
going?
be looking at the Copilot feature within Power Apps, and so let me just make us smaller and the screen bigger here. Let's see. And if you have this turned on in your environment, I just got an email today say that I was in. Hopefully, there's a lot of others that got that email notification and they're able to see this new and exciting feature, the Copilot. It's sort of like having Chat GPT or AI right here inside of your Power Apps environment. So um, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And something I'd like to show you. Let's see here. Let's working with. Let's see. Okay. So what we want to do here is I'm going to try to zoom in on the screen here, and I want an app to collect, list, track, show, dot, dot, dot. That is our prompt. So AI generated content can have mistakes. Make sure it's accurate and appropriate before using it. Is the disclaimer that we're getting right here at the get-go. So in here, I think I want to give it something somewhat straightforward and simple. And I'm going to tell it I want to create a feature rich, got to spell rich right, a feature rich, and perhaps I need a little dash in there, app to track projects and tasks and time against those. And let's see what it says for us here. Run. So what this is going to do, it's going to start off by creating us a Dataverse database table. Okay. So look at this. So we have project task. Okay. So we got project name and then the tasks. And I could ask it, could we have separate tables, one for projects and one for tasks? See if it can handle multi-table projects here.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how you did yours from the front, and I did mine as I already had a screen up there,
Mm-hmm.
and then I clicked on the one that's the icon that's up there by the environment settings, and I brought it down, and it wouldn't create the tables for me from that point.
Yeah.
But from where you did it, it created a table, and uh, it yeah. Well, that I guess that's everything I wanted to say in that. Yeah. Didn't do it that
Okay.
way.
So I'm going to say, can you handle a one-to-many relationship? So, Kurt, we had some questions prepared for this. Let's go back to those. I'm going to look at email I sent you about questions that we might want to have answered as we're working with this Copilot feature.
Right now, when you're talking about this, I guess let's take a step back just and deal with what you just put in there. Um,
Sure.
so the way you answered that or asked that question was a more direct. Can you handle one-to-many relationship? However,
Mm-hmm.
I asked it. I told it. I said I want to build an app that deals with HR, human
Mm-hmm.
resources, and we have employees and we have training and we have departments. And it actually set up the multiple tables. And it
It
said
did.
you're going to have one for the customer, one with the departments, and you're going to have one that has customers. I said customer, I meant employees. And you have to have one that has employees and departments. So it did
Really.
indirectly do a one to many,
Okay.
So
So it just told me, sorry, I cannot handle one-to-many relationships. So, do you have any ideas of what I know that you played around with this earlier today? What would you recommend that I type in here that would sort of convince it to go ahead and do
be,
this for us?
be more specific. Okay, so let's say you have a project. Let's see, your first one was you need a project that's tracking. What was it tracking?
The very first prompt was I want to have a feature-rich application that manages projects and tasks and will
Okay.
track time against them.
Okay. So maybe the better way or different way to ask that, where it might handle it, would be saying, I need an application that deals with projects and what was the other thing? Tasks, projects and tasks. And you can have more than one task to a project.
Okay.
See what it does with that.
Okay. So an application that tracks projects. So one of the big questions by the end of this live session, Kurt, that I want to answer, can this replace us Power Apps developers? Right? Isn't that a big question in your mind?
Right.
When
So
you,
that's the thesis. That's the thesis to this whole live stream, right? Tonight is
yeah,
we're going to answer that question, right? That tracks projects and tasks. There could be, yeah.
multiple tasks associated with one project.
Okay. That's another way to put it.
Or I cannot assist you. Okay. Well, perhaps something that we
Okay.
could do
Well,
is we could go back to the start here, which is what I'm going to do right now. And I'm going to start off with a different prompt. And perhaps it got sort of fouled up with the initial prompt.
well,
Okay.
it said that it had inappropriate words, or not inappropriate words, but the words that it couldn't handle. And you worded yours just a little differently. You got to you use better English than I did. I got more direct with it. So maybe if you just
Okay.
dummy
So
down your words
I'm
a
gonna
little bit.
okay, so I'm gonna follow the prompt here. I
Okay.
want my app to track tasks.
Yep.
Multiple tasks can be associated
Okay. Now
with
that's where I did mine different. I would say I more than one task can be a project can have more than one task. That's the way I put it.
okay. So hit back. Okay. You tell me what you're recommending that I type in here, and that's what we'll do here.
Let's
Okay.
just
So
try it. Yeah, let's just try it. Okay.
go ahead and give me the
So
words again.
I want an app that tracks projects and tasks. And there can be more than one task to a project.
And there can
I also need it to track the time it takes to complete a task.
my microphone got all uppity on here on me.
Technical
Okay.
difficulty.
So I'm at the end here, and you want me to add on what here?
I also need it to track the time it takes to complete a task.
Need it to track the time it takes to complete a task. Okay.
Yep.
Is that all you're recommending that I go with?
I think that's it. Let's see what it does.
Okay. And Kurt, if you get this thing to work and it comes back, I'm going to call you the Copilot, the AI whisperer. Oh my goodness. Sure. Here's the table schema for projects and tasks. Well, it just gave me the same thing again that it gave me at the beginning. Oh, wait, hold on. I got a scroll bar here. We got status and time taken. Okay. And maybe it gave that at the beginning. Now we could add column, row for remove, change column. Okay. So what you're saying is that earlier today, while you were messing around with this, it created two tables for you, or did it create one and then you had to go back and say create another?
Okay, again, and we can actually I have the entire transcripts up there in a document if we ever want to try to grab that. But
Okay.
But in short, it didn't create any kind of tables for me. It just told me. Now I didn't do it from this place though. I did it from I was in a project already, and I just went over there to the Copilot from within my project, and it just told me the tables that I needed to create, and it actually specified the different tables, more than one table. So
okay. So maybe we need to break this down more simply and just start off with I'm going to hit back and I'm going to say leave and discard table. Say I want an app that will manage projects. Okay. I'm just going to give it something as simple as that. And this will be our one end of the one-to-many relationship. And then once it creates the app, perhaps we can tell it, okay, now I need to track tasks. Okay, so we got a start date, end date, and a status. You think that's pretty good for a project? Are there any other columns that we should add to this project table? Any suggestions?
I'm not thinking right off the top of my head. No.
Okay. So I'm good with that for now. I'm going to click on the button Create App. It knows who I am, calls me by name.
It's very polite. It's very polite.
Well, while working on the Chat GPT, I actually told it, like, Chat GPT, I really like you.
Yeah, I was watching you work with Chat GPT, and it's funny how you were really having a very involved conversation with it, and it was riding right along with you. It was pretty impressive, you know.
Yeah. So I do have a video where I actually used Chat GPT to help me build out an application. It was a employee awards type of application. You guys, if you're interested, while it's wrangling up our app here. Yes, and I will bring this down. Let's see here. Yeah. So what I have here is a video, and we'll have to hide our faces here for a moment. The title of the video is Can ChatGPT Create a Whole Power Apps Application? So if you sort of look at this application, I have ChatGPT here. I tell it what I want to build, and it's not inside of Power Apps, but it gives me pretty much every step of the way what it recommends that I do. So anyhow. Okay, wondering how to do something? Simply ask a how-to question and you'll get an in-depth AI-powered answer back from Copilot. Okay, I'm going to click on got it. All right, very good. So waiting for that Copilot to come up. Okay, welcome to Copilot. All right, so I'm going to run this application and take a look here. And the way I understand it, it creates an app like this, and it has a menu here at the top in the form of tabs. Okay, did it do anything like this for you, Kurt, earlier today?
No, it literally did nothing like that.
Wow. Okay.
But again, I didn't start it from the beginning screen like you did. If I had done that, it probably would have.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to click on Project Managements. Isn't that a weird name for a screen? Project Managements. Okay. So it's this portion that is a part of the application. And this little sidebar is perhaps something that we can utilize to build onto this app. So here's all of our projects. It gave us some sample data. Are you impressed at all with that, Kurt? That it actually created the table and gave us some sample data?
Yeah, that right there makes it worth the deal right there. If you could just if you could just ask, if you could create a table yourself and ask it to give you some sample data, that would be awesome too, wouldn't it?
That would be an interesting little test here. Now I'm noticing it's using the responsive containers here. Okay.
Now, what does that mean when you say responsive containers?
So the word responsive in the computer or the world of the web means that the website or the web application is going to accommodate people with completely different resolutions. So if you're looking at it on a cell phone, you know, it might it will actually sort of put things down below it so you can look at everything. If you look at a web page or website that's not responsive, sometimes you have to like drag around to look at things horizontally.
Okay. Yep.
You know, a lot of older websites and older applications, they're set up for people to use them on a computer, and they weren't really made for mobile devices, or people just have really different resolutions. So we'll sort of adapt to that.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
And so anyway, this is the project managements, and it says page 1. I'm sort of surprised it called it page 1 and home page 1, because that goes against the Microsoft recommended practices for naming
Ah,
screens.
ah,
But okay, so we have this stuff here, and this will allow us to manage these projects. So I'm gonna click on this X so we can see it full screen here. And let me see. So this is sort of demonstration of a responsive design, Kurt.
very
So
nice. I see
if
it.
I scroll down, do you know how it or you see how it's sort of adjusted?
Right. So it'll put
So
that other
this
stuff below it.
Mhm, yeah. Or if we go in and look at one of them, it brings it
Oh,
up right here.
oh, yeah. I like it. That's neat, man. That's very neat.
So it generated this.
Yeah.
Okay, so so it gives us a CRUD screen. Okay, that's very nice. So if I hit a new record here, okay, and yeah, we can create a new record in progress, completed, and canceled. And so let's take a look at this Dataverse table. Okay, so we'll
And
go in here.
and it's not a terrible looking interface. It's very plain, but
Hmm.
it, no bells and frills, no oohs and ahs, but it's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to click on Edit Data here, and it brings it up in a dialog. I sort of wanted to just see it. Let me open this up a little bit here. And I'm going to open up a new tab, and I'm going to go over here to Power Apps. And I'm going to click on Tables, okay, within Power Apps. And that's going to show us our Dataverse tables, okay? So I'm going to click on Custom. Hopefully it's part of the custom one here. So we do have Project Management. That is our table that it generated for us. Okay, and we do have some sample data here. Okay, very good.
Nice.
Let's take a look at our columns. Okay, so Dataverse, when you create a table within Dataverse, it creates a bunch of stuff for you, like created by, created on. This was a field that was custom made for us. Okay, import sequence number, and a lot of these other things like owner, owning user, owning team, that type of stuff. A lot of these things are created for you. Um, so anyway, that looks interesting. So I'm going to go back over here, and I wonder if I could. Now, is this using a form? I'm sure it is. So if I go over to the tree view, I do have a form here,
Ah,
and
ah.
it doesn't look as bad as the normal form. So this is using the newer controls. Have you ever heard of Fluent UI? So
No,
there's
what is that? What is
Yeah,
that?
so it's newer flavor of controls that Microsoft has, and they released them in the Teams flavor of Power Apps, and now you're able to use them here within the regular plain version of Power Apps.
Oh, okay,
So,
now, o- okay, hold on. Is okay. So now I saw in the settings in Power Apps there was a new
mhm,
thing called modern controls. Is that the same thing? Are they talking about the same thing?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So let me bring up. I'm trying to bring up the settings, or I think right here we can pull them up. I'm used to seeing settings up here,
Right.
and maybe it's because I had the Copilot feed. Yeah, because I had the Copilot there, I didn't see settings here.
Mhm.
And where did you see that?
It was in the upcoming features, I believe,
Uh huh.
and experimental,
Okay.
and towards the bottom,
Okay.
if I remember right. And I could be totally
Uh,
crazy in that.
well, I'll just type in controls here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try out the modern controls right there on the bottom.
Figure
Bam.
out the latest controls. Okay. So if I turn that on,
I was using it and it just didn't look, it just looked like, well, it's just another button or another text box. So I didn't know.
if
Okay.
you want a date picker control, you have two versions. So I'll add the normal one over, and then the date picker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So it looks a little different. Now this actually feels like the traditional one. So that might actually be it. And maybe it's just using the color. And perhaps this one is the Fluent UI. Yeah. So
That looks like
the calendar picker is a little nicer.
it is. It is. But look at the button though. Look at the buttons. That's what I dragged a button. I drug a button across there, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, you
Yeah.
know, eh.
It's almost minimalistic looking
It
if I
is.
run this, and
It is. That's a good way to put that there.
yeah. I don't know that I like the this newer
I
button there.
I wasn't happy. Yeah.
So I'll take these controls out.
But
Okay. Now, go ahead.
but I am happy with that date picker though. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do
It's
like
kind of
that.
smooth. Yeah.
So, okay. So, welcome, Darenice. Something went wrong. Please try again. Well, that's not good. Let's ask a question about the data. How many projects do we have? So, this is sort of like an AI built into our app that one of our users could use, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay. And something went wrong. So, um,
Maybe a lot of people are hitting it right now or something. Maybe that's what's going on.
how many projects do we have? Well, that's just not going to work. Okay. But what I am going to do, I'm going to Control S, make sure I've saved this application. Okay.
Ask it like how many projects are in our table right now
Okay.
or are in our app.
How many projects are on our table? Do you like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's try it.
Yeah. It's not. I don't think anything's going to work. Let's
Nope.
see.
It
How
doesn't
about
work,
if I
buddy.
said, what is the current time? That's something simple, right? I mean, gee whiz, Power Apps
Good
does have a
stuff.
function. Yeah, it's not going to give us
That's good stuff there.
that.
It's got to ask that.
So, okay. So for the Copilot, let's say, how do I add a new table screen for tasks? Here. The fact that it's taken a while is perfectly fine with me. Oh wow.
Look at that.
Add,
Now that's the kind of response I was getting from this off the side that you just did.
all right. To add new table screen for tasks in Canvas apps, you can use the Dataverse entity task. The task entity provides the ability to create, retrieve, update activities. Here's an example of how to create. First, set up the required variables. Okay. Okay, task subject, task name. Common Data Service or CDS. Now that was the old version of Dataverse. Generate a new table for me. Let's see what it can do for me here.
And that's what it told me.
Okay.
It would not make the table from this point.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I do like about this, it did generate a menu. Okay, to create a single table. Maybe if you're creating a new application, you would tell it to create the core database table, like the guts of your application. That's the main table that everything is going to relate to. I think if I were to do this over, I'd probably pick tasks and just make a column called projects in there. And maybe go from there. And it would create, to create the menu, it'd create at least one CRUD screen for me here. And what does CRUD stand for, Kurt?
Create,
Mm-hmm.
read,
Yes.
update, delete.
I hope you remember this. You're the one who taught me all this over 20 years ago, man. All right. So, yeah. So this isn't too bad, but does it look like this is going to, let's say, me as a software developer who got into Power Apps, can I be replaced by, let's say, somebody that's working outside of IT that only knows Excel, that really hasn't learned Power Apps? Could they just rely on this completely to build out their app? They might, if all they needed was an app that handled a single table, and that was it. It could help them do that. But I think most projects will need more than one table, one screen. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I've got quite a bit to say about what we've got so far.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Well,
I
please share.
okay, if you don't mind. So I think it's a good start with what they're trying to do. I don't
Hmm.
think I don't even think it's ready for the beginner. At first I thought, well, maybe this is for that bare bones beginner that's just scared, like this guy that's owns a business. He says, I want to build an app. And he just goes in there and starts trying to do something. I don't even think it's really for them. It's it,
Really?
it it's a good start. Well, because look how easy it would be to get messed up in it. It doesn't really do a complete app. It does a beginning, um, and then you can't add to it. So, in all programming, you never end with the first screen. You open up that first screen, you start putting stuff in it, and all of a sudden now you got all kinds of stuff you got to add to it, and you're constantly changing the dynamics of what you got to program. And this thing's
Hmm.
not being able to keep up. Not yet.
Yeah.
It's not making intuitive user interfaces, although I really like the way they tried to do that responsive app. That was very intuitive. Um,
Mhm.
so it's doing some things really well, but in terms of will it replace us? Not yet. However, I do believe that we're actually helping them right now. So what they're doing is I got no data to prove this, but I believe that they are putting this stuff out there, and we're asking it questions, and we're we're making it have to think, and we're actually teaching it in the machine learning way. And so
Yeah.
I think we're probably helping it right now. And that might be what they're trying to do.
So they is the AI or they is Microsoft?
Yes.
You're funny.
That's just a top of my head Kurt speculation there.
Yeah, Kurt, have you ever gone to a website? You're trying to either sign in or you're trying to create an account, and it says, "Prove that you're not a robot." Look at
Yeah.
all these pictures.
Yeah.
Click on the ones that's let's say a sidewalk or a bicycle or a
Right.
motorcycle, and
Right.
you're doing that, and it gives you more and it gives you more. I think we're feeding AI. We're
We are.
teaching the machines how to spot things.
We are.
So it's like serving two purposes. I'm like, man, I'm not your employee. Just let me let me sign
And
into my account.
to take that theory one step farther, I believe that the Power App developers, the release of Power Apps in general, and the developers of Power Apps is actually training AI to write programs. I think that that's what we're doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Um, oh, I want to say one more comment. When you got me back into this world of
Mhm.
of of uh, the web development, the first time when you said you got to tell it's not a robot, I actually thought you were kidding. I'm like, really? You got to really do that? Are they being that silly? But you weren't
Yeah.
kidding. You really
Well, you've
weren't
got a
kidding.
lot of bots, let's say coders that create little applications that go off and spam people, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I know before one of the questions that we had to find out here on this live stream is, can it create a real intuitive UI for users? Do you think that it's done this? Let's say we just needed a single table CRUD screen like this.
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet. Although, like I said earlier, I'm really impressed with the responsive method that they did that. That was intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you know what we could do is if we wanted to we didn't want to write a single line of code and we wanted several tables to be generated like this. You know what we could do? We could have, um, so we have home, we have project, and we might want to actually say that just managing projects or just projects, right? And then up here, we find out what is being used for this menu. Okay, so here, if I take a look at this menu, what exactly is this? If I go in here and I click on this, this is a button. Look at that.
Yeah.
And then
Huh.
we've got this thing here, and then we've got another one. I would have thought they would have used a gallery for this. I'm a little surprised. So these are just separate responsive containers, and it just has a button and a little separator.
Yeah, why didn't they
Okay.
put that in the gallery, Darren? That's a good question.
Well, let's say we didn't want to write any code and we're just going to rely on this. Um, if we add in another container like this and we create one for projects, I'm sorry, we already have one for projects. We create one for tasks. Okay. What we could do is we can open up a new tab and just say, hey, I just want to track my tasks. And then I get the link to that new thing that it generated. And I go in here and I add a new tab for the tasks. And inside that little button, it doesn't do navigate, it does launch. It actually launches, goes into the other app. And then over there, you could create another container like we would have done here that will link back to the projects. And so it might look to the user that it's one app, but it's actually two separate apps. What do you think of that? I think it's a
Well,
little.
I mean, I can see it happening. I can see you doing that. That it's funny how your mind just went to the workaround already. You're
Yeah,
already trying to find a workaround. But
yeah,
you know, it's interesting that you said that because really that's what you're doing when you're building a system, right? You're building a system of many baby programs. And so, you know, essentially we're doing that anyway. We're just compiling it in one. Wait,
to track. Well, let me see if this is going to be. Let's see how this works out. I want to track tasks, not trasks. Um, and then what I'll let's see here. Okay, yeah, want to track tasks. Do that. Let's see what it gives us here. So what it wants us to do you see these little suggestions on this on the left side of the screen here?
yeah.
So add a column for this, remove. So it's supposed to um, just allow commands to allow us to add, remove things out of this thing that it created.
I did a good job of that. That's a good
Yeah.
job.
Okay. So I'm going to create this app. And while that's going, I'm going to go back over to this one. Display us again. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new one.
You're gonna call it tasks, huh?
I don't see a duplicate there. So what I'm going to do, I want to see if I can rely on something that's already here. So if I click on this, hit Control C, Control V, does it give it to me? And it did. Okay. But it did not put it where I wanted it to go. Okay. So if I click on this, I cut it. And I click on this and I paste. There we go. Look at that. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to double click on that little button there. Look at this. Tasks. I'm going to double click on this one. And I want to say projects. Good. When I run this, well, I actually need to do the launch here. Okay, so let's see if this other app has been created. And it has. Okay. Now I sort of want to move this guy up. Okay. So this will be the main screen. Okay. So I want to get at the, I need to save this. So I'll hit save.
Now
I'll bring,
imagine being Snuffy Smith who owns a bicycle shop,
who
wanting to build
exactly
an app.
is Snuffy Smith? You always, through the years, you've always talked to me about this Snuffy Smith. Who is this guy?
He is that dude. He is that dude that is in everything. And actually, that I didn't make Snuffy Smith up. That came from an age way before I was born.
Yeah.
And it was like a cartoon character or something, Snuffy Smith. I think back in the 30s or, you know,
Wow.
somewhere in there. Yeah. But I always like I like using him as that person, like when you're building widgets or you're storing widgets. You got Snuffy Smith buying widgets, you know.
What's a widget?
A widget is anything you need it to be. A widget is like if you're writing an application for inventory where you're counting widgets or you're tracking widgets, it's
Is
a
it sort
thing.
of like a thingamabob?
It's a thingamabob. Yep, exactly. And Snuffy Smith is a thingamabob in human form. You know. Yeah. But
Um,
but imagine, back to my point. Imagine being
mhm.
Snuffy Smith doing a running his bicycle shop, and he wants to build that. Think about, could he just do what you just did right there? That's I see where you're going with this. And
You know
that,
what? If he followed my channel, I bet he would be able
well,
to.
you know what? That's a good point. That's a really good point.
So Trevor just asked a question. Can we also have Copilot create tables and SharePoint lists? Um, I'm like 99% sure that is not possible with this Copilot feature. It looks, I mean, it didn't ask me what type of data source I wanted to use. It just created it. You saw the screen it went directly to looked very much like a Dataverse
Well, Darren,
type of. Hmm?
we should ask it. We should ask it if it can create
Okay.
a
All
table
right.
in the SharePoint.
Okay.
We should ask it.
So go back home.
Maybe it can handle that question.
Want to create an app that stores data in SharePoint. Okay, there's SharePoint data,
What?
but it's going to store it in Dataverse.
Oh,
Isn't that hilarious?
now I can't see the screen. Is that what it's saying?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you for letting me know that.
Okay.
So, yeah, it just went to this right here.
SharePoint
So it
data.
says, look at this. It created a database table called SharePoint data.
Oh,
You know
can you?
what? Microsoft is going to improve this
Yeah,
over the
they are.
months and years. This is going to end up being a great tool. AI is revolutionary,
Yeah.
revolutionizing the field and the world and all kinds of industries.
Yeah.
So I do like the this screen here. I
I
think
do
it
too.
looks pretty nice and it's all responsive. So that's a pretty big kudos to Microsoft that it generated, because before we just had like a plain looking. So we could have gone in here and generated an app. So if I go home and I could go to, you know, Dataverse, SharePoint, I could actually start with this. Let's go here. And the app that it could generate would only be a, let me see here. There we go. There I am. And let's just pull up the table that it generated for us. Do you want tasks or do you want projects? Projects. All right. So yeah, Trevor says, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh." He says, "Awesome, thanks." Well, you're welcome. Yeah,
Now, Trevor, you know that it didn't create. It makes it look like it created. It said SharePoint data, but
yeah.
it is Dataverse, right? It's not creating it in a SharePoint. I guess another question would have been, can we create the table in SharePoint?
Yeah. And that's how he phrased us in SharePoint lists. So what you could do is use this thing and do it. And it is now this is a Dataverse table and allows us to and you could add all the fields that we have in the database table. So you guys might already be familiar with this. This is like a beginner level thing. You could
Yeah.
generate an app really quickly here.
Now,
And
now
it's going to
Trevor's
create.
asking. Trevor asks us, "Do you think Copilot will help to replace SharePoint developers and Power App developers in the future?" And and that's what we were talking about. That was actually the thesis
Yeah.
of our show tonight, was that, well, we're going to try to answer that question. And I think it is, but not today. Not
Yeah.
today, right?
Yeah. So and Trevor says, yes, I can tell it's getting close.
It
Yeah.
is. It
So if you
is.
take a look at the video I did here, can ChatGPT create a whole Power Apps application? Um, and it was helping me even with patch because I didn't want to use forms. But if you're sticking with forms, it would probably give you some really good step-by-step directions. So if you haven't checked out this video here, yeah, you should check it out.
You know, yeah, back real quick with that, along with that topic, I was doing a little bit of studying of the Internet of Things, and that's where they use the AI is using to build machine learning. And I remember reading. Now I'm Kurt phrasing this, and I'm probably not even close with the exact numbers, but it took a long time, like months, weeks, and months, for a robot to learn how to go from laying on the ground to learning how to walk. It took weeks and months. Now it takes a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. So it's learning from a dead spot where it's just a piece of metal to being able to walk. It teaches itself how to do that. So imagine when you say it's getting close, it's closer than we realize, because it's going to go faster and faster in exponential numbers. You know
Well,
what I mean?
did you ever watch the movie Age of Ultron, where Tony Stark created AI and he quickly was starting to take over the world?
No, I never watched that. No. No.
It's one of those Marvel movies,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, Tony Stark and what's the Hulk's character name? His human name, Banner.
Banner.
So they had a Tesseract which had one of the Infinity Stones in it, and they used that to generate an AI, and it killed the other AI, and it took control of hardware, and it got access to the internet and caused quite the ruckus. So I don't know. You follow Elon Musk at all? He seems to think
Yeah.
it's very AI is very dangerous, and we need
Yeah.
to slow the roll on AI development because it
Well,
could get
and
out of hand.
along with those words that you just said, um, we humans don't deal with exponents very well. We don't understand exponents very well. So there was this an imagery example that talked about exponents, and I really see this AI being like this. It talked about if you take a drop of water and put it on the pitcher's mound of a stadium, in a major league stadium,
Mhm,
and they asked the question, well, how long will it take if you doubled that every minute? How long would it take to fill that entire stadium with water?
mhm,
And the answer was 45 minutes. You would think it would take a lot longer than that, right?
mhm,
But that doubling is so fast. And the thing of it is that the scary thing about that is that the people that were sitting in that stadium, when they got up to about the halfway point, they would not have time to leave, because the next
mm,
the next exponents, when they double that, it's going to
mhm.
flood out. And that's exactly what I think this AI is going to do. It's coming up very slowly, and all of a sudden it's going to go whoom. And I think Elon Musk is right. We should be very careful. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I believe that life has it goes beyond intelligence, where it actually has human. I believe this might go into philosophical or even religious, which I don't want to discuss on
Well,
this
we're
channel.
waxing we're waxing philosophical now.
But yeah, it's very philosophical here. If you believe in a soul, does a human have a soul? Well, I know in aviation, whenever a pilot saying "Mayday, Mayday," the tower controls how many souls on board.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know that even if a computer software, computer hardware has AI, of course, it would be software in the hardware, right? If it was hardware, does it actually have things like desires? Does it have awareness? All these other things that we probably believe about ourselves or even
Right.
animals.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, what scares
Is
me about that is that it doesn't, I don't think, right? And so, machines are all about trying to be efficient, right? So when they're trying to make this world more efficient place, what are they going to do? They're going to get rid of the inefficient humans. These machines are going to take over, and they're going to say, well, the inefficiencies, these humans right here.
well, in the movie The Age of Ultron, they gave this AI that they were creating one primary mission, which was for peace. And it said, okay. And it looked at the internet and our history and all of our knowledge compiled together on the internet. And it said, oh, I know how to bring about peace.
Get rid of
Destroy all the humans.
Yeah. We are the pandemic. Yeah.
All right. So getting back to this thing here. So I created a button for tasks, and I have another app over here that manages tasks. Okay. So the question I have is, and I don't know if you noticed this, Kurt, but I created this button here. So I created one line of code to link up the two apps. Okay.
Okay.
So I use the launch function and I pasted in the link to the other app. I'm going to run this. I'm going to see how this all works here. Okay. It brought open a new tab. Would that be disconcerting for you if you're using an application and you want to click on something that just brings open a new tab?
Right. Yeah. Well, but you know what it does? There's apps that do that, right? If when I know, like for me, I
That's
I
true.
I deal with Amazon, obviously, and um, you know
Why is
what?
that obvious?
Well, because but I
Doesn't
have an
everybody?
Amazon card and I do my
Oh,
banking through that. And whenever I go to do that, it launches another tab and goes to that app. Because it's going to the bank that deals with that, right?
yeah.
So I've seen that in a lot of different places. Max Cedeno over here says, thanks for sharing your knowledge. Greetings from Costa Rica. The key is the prompt, how to make the request. And we've been discovering that, right? When we're doing it. You got to be careful how you word things. And that is
That
the
is
key.
true.
You're
That
right.
is true.
And if we got slick with it, we might be able to try to figure a way to get this thing to do exactly what we're trying to do, but it might have to take a few stabs at it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah. Hey, if you're getting anything helpful out of this, a comment or even a like really helps the channel, and lets people like you know this is good content. Much appreciated. So one thing that I thought about, let me go back to the screen here and look at this. So this opened this up in a new tab. So if I add another tab here in this second application for the tasks, I said projects. Instead of actually going back to this tab, it will just open up another tab.
Oh
So
no,
let's say they're working all day, they could end up with 100 different tabs. That
that's
would be a problem.
unacceptable. That's
That's sort of
unacceptable.
sloppy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what we could do though,
Oh
Kurt?
boy, here we go. Here we go.
Could do.
But
I'm
see,
gonna
now
close
this is
down the
this is this is intervention of an expert programmer, though, right? This isn't Snuffy Smith
huh?
running a bicycle shop just trying
Yeah.
to build an app.
Because what I'm wondering, Kurt, okay, this is SharePoint data. We're not going to create an app for the SharePoint data, but what we can do,
See, that's misleading when it says that. That really ticks me off that way they put that, you know, because they put it in a Dataverse and then they say SharePoint did it. So if you're just giving that a glance over look, they say, oh yeah, it did it. It
it
did
warned
SharePoint.
you, Kurt, up front. It said, hey, this could yield inappropriate results.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Okay, so what I wanted to do here was I'm going to click on this screen. I'm going to hit Control A. This is a little a trick that is known out there in the Power Apps community. If you hit Control A, Control C, I go back over to the first app, and let me add a new screen here, and I'm going to paste it.
So what we're
Oh,
doing now is we're going to put Darren in the AI model, and it's going to work perfectly every time.
no, I just did a paste and it didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work even, huh?
Yeah,
What?
so I click on the screen again. I'll hit Control A, and it's just getting us this one. I don't see them all selected, but okay, Control A, Control C, and then go over here and Control V. Doesn't do it. Now, oh, whoa, Kurt, it might work. This is exciting.
Oh, look at all those red dots. Oh,
Here's a
wow.
question, Kurt. Let's go into our data sources. Let's add in. Let's
Okay.
look at all the tables and
You
let's
just
go
bumped
find.
Snuffy Smith. Snuffy Smith is just gone now. He's locking his doors. He's probably gonna go hit the bar now. He's gonna he's gonna go get drunk. He can't handle this anymore.
Data source applied to the function is invalid.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Well, let me go over. Well, I don't want to look at this anymore. I might save it. But this little project here that involves tasks is just called tasks. And okay, so I added it, but now I got errors all over the place. What is going on here? Okay, there is a gallery, right? Well, let me go open up the tree view. And okay, so here's the gallery, and it's looking at tasks. I don't know what its problem is here.
You went
Hmm.
you went crazy with it and blew it out of the water. That's what happened.
So the source supplied to the function is invalid. Well, it should be valid. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to try another trick that maybe not a lot of people know about, which is I'm going to save it. I'm going to get out of it and open it again.
There you go. That might help. Hey, I'll be right back.
Sure. No problemo. Let's see here. So I'm going to go click on apps and I'm going to open up project management. And I'm sort of hoping, guys, that it's going to recognize all the things that we had brought in on that other table. Um, and might just fix it. I've had a lot of things, how rebooting a computer sometimes can fix a lot of things. All right, so here we go. All right, so we'll go over to screen one. Nope, it's not liking this. Now, this thing has got tasks page 1. Okay, so something that might help us is if we name it the exact same thing as we have over here. So tasks page 1. Let's name this screen. Paste that name in there and let's see about that. It did not. Task page 1. Enter and put a V in there. Okay. That's very strange. Tasks page 1. Okay. All right. So it looks like it's actually working a little better. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go into these, see if we can figure out these individual errors. So we have this item dot task name. Well, let's look at the data source for this gallery. And I typically don't like it when they use an ampersand in these brackets here. Okay. We've got task name. Well, what if we say task name? Okay, so it's doing a search. Well, let's go look at the fields for this database table. I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to go bring up the tables and click on custom and I'll go find task. Okay, we have task name. I don't care about when it was created for now. Okay, due date would be good. Priority would be good. Status, there's 2 status fields. There's the task. Now the task that would probably be a GUID. So I'm not interested in that. Maybe a task ID. Let's see what's in there. I'm going to hit save. See what it gives us here.
All right. What'd I miss?
Yeah. So what I did, Kurt, was I made sure this screen name was the same screen name that was over here.
Oh,
Tasks page 1. And I went over
okay.
here. Once I did that, these controls started to show up. I still have errors. Okay.
Huh.
And I'm going to go over to the form and look, tasks. Okay. But why are we having errors here? And okay, I'm going to start off with this gallery. Start looking at stuff over here. So it doesn't see task name. If I go back over here to the table, so we got task name. So we definitely have a space in here. Okay.
I wonder if everybody else is seeing these 12 different mouse pointers running around the screen.
Yeah. So that's something I've noticed with StreamYard lately. I think they updated how they render the screen. So I might be looking at a new streaming service that I won't have that problem with.
Yeah.
And I did work with their support, and they had me change settings within Chrome, and I don't know that it really fixed it. So I might have to figure that out soon because that's really annoying. So we need to figure out what's going on here with the. I wonder if I could just bring in. I'm going to paste in tasks. I'm not going to do anything with a search. Okay, now it has no problem with it. Okay. So there was something going on with search that's causing the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Search
Yep.
input one. Is that the name of this search box? Because when you copy and paste controls, a lot of times it adds stuff to it, doesn't it, Kurt?
Yep.
Yeah. So, oh, no, that was right. Okay. Dot text. We have task name. So this actually needs to be task space name. Okay. Because the search, I think, let me use the put on here. Okay, it is expecting in double quote. So let's go down here to task. S. Teaser next. Task name data card one. No.
Hmm.
Well, that's really strange here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it double quotes. It seemed to want to have that. Doesn't like that. Now there are a few things that we can try, some different workarounds. So this task name, if I go into columns and scroll down here and look at task name, you see this CR thing here.
Yeah.
So I could go in here. In my experience, when it only accepts this, there's something else wrong in the project that you need to straighten out.
Yep.
But it should allow us to do that. And it doesn't even like that. Okay. So I think for now, I'm just going to say tasks, and the whole search thing could be something that we tackle later. But I want to see if I could have this like a CRUD screen working here. Edit formula bar. What do we have here? So record gallery 1-1. That is this gallery. Okay, very good. And then we've got selected and we have a task name. But why isn't there data showing up here?
Because it's not recognizing that field.
Well, this is all commented out right here. So it's just looking at this database table here. So if I open up tasks, we didn't find any data. Well, I know there's test data in there. Something's afoot here.
Something's afoot.
Something's afoot.
That's a foot. What is a foot? It's 12 inches. Something's 12 inches in here.
Kurt. You're funny. Okay, that's really strange because if I go over here, I'm gonna move this tab over because I keep.
No, wait a minute. Okay, did you check the task for data? I know we looked for projects for data, but did we look in the table for tasks?
Yeah. Look at that.
Okay. Yep.
Analyze app, create app, deploy app. Look at that.
Okay.
It's got our application development lifecycle in there. That's sort of neat that it did that. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's data there, Kurt. What's going on?
Well, have you got a label in there? Have we got a label in there? That we got
tasks here. So that's what it's looking. So if I look at tasks, that is the data source. That is the table. In fact, Kurt, if I say edit data, I should be looking at the data right here.
Huh. Okay.
That almost makes me feel like I don't have read rights to this database table, doesn't it? That's what would make me think that.
No, that's not it.
Well, because it's going to allow me to add a new one. Okay, and that's a question. Say new. Okay, it's going to allow me to create that. Okay, now there's a new task.
So go see if it's.
Oh, it's refreshing. Did you see that?
Oh, look at the new task in there. Look at that new task in there.
You know what I bet
there wasn't data in there.
You know what I think is going on.
It pulled
it's
it.
only.
Go ahead.
It's only showing me. Look, there's status and status. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I think it's confused with status.
Yep.
I'm going to add. So here's the status, and I got the other status. So you see where it says active?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I'm going to do here.
It's confused over which task table to look at.
Because I think Dataverse, like you could go in here and say, this is really interesting. We could go in here and like sort of logically delete this by saying this is an inactive record. And I think it's only pulling back the active records, but there's no active in this column here. Do you see what I mean? I think that's what's going on.
Well, try it.
So Snuffy Smith isn't going to be able to handle this.
No,
Now, if he
You're-
follows my channel and he's watching this video, maybe
I don't even know if he could do that. You are 7 levels above the colonel right now, bud.
Yeah, we have 2 status fields. Why would he even allow that?
Well,
right?
didn't you? Maybe it's because when you created that deal, it did that on the fly when you were trying to build one from the other. Maybe it created another one to try to do that.
Look at what it created for us. It created a choice field and gave us 3 choices: not started, in progress, and completed. Okay. Look at these values over here.
Not started is not a choice.
571,230,000, and then we have that in 1 and 2. So that's the value behind these. I find that interesting. Okay.
Well, I'm still stuck on the not started as a choice. That's not a choice.
Well, if we have a task that's, if you have a task out there that needs to be done, you haven't started on it, then that would be not started.
I know, but I guess I just would not be putting that in a field that's based on choice. Choice is like, this or that. It's a yes or no. It's I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I just got to rethink the way that.
Well, I mean, yeah. So we could have, let's say, a priority to this task. We could have a separate one, and we'd have a choice set up as low, medium, and high, or importance level, or you understand?
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's what that is. And then I'm going to give this thing a different name now. So I'm going to call it task status. Make sure it's unambiguated with the other status. I don't know if that was the right tense of the word there, but I think you guys know what I mean. All right, so we changed that, and we're going to go back over to our app, and I'm going to refresh here. Nope. Okay, so we have the new one that we created. Well, if I copy and paste that little label here, and let's look at status. Okay. It doesn't seem to really have a good refresh here. Okay. Status, reason. Task status is what I'm looking for. It makes me believe that it's not really refreshing the data because I just changed that field name. If I go over here, open this thing up, and get at the underlying schema name or even the logical name here, okay, maybe that would work. Doesn't like that either. So I think the verdict, Kurt, is that this is a great tool, maybe for creating a single table, one database type of thing here. If I go to home, this has proved itself really not to work out very well. And maybe Microsoft has a service out there out in their cloud services that is handling this, and maybe they open it up for a lot of tenants today, and maybe it's just getting hammered.
I think so. Wait, can we try something though, away from this whole line of things that you're doing?
Sure.
Because I can actually see this being another kind of tool too. Let's have let's just run a project, start a project out there. Well, you got one out there right now. Say we want to use a PDF function.
Okay.
Say, tell it that you want to generate a PDF file of the data. How do I use the PDF function? And maybe it would tell us how to do that, and let's see if we got some really great documentation.
The PDF function. Is that what the prompt that you want me
Sure,
to give it
sure.
right
Let's
here?
just do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Click on that. And let's see what it says.
Bam.
Okay,
Look
here
at
we
there.
go. The PDF function is an experimental feature, so it's not meant for production use and may have restricted functionality. To use this feature in Canvas, let's follow these steps. Select the screen or control you want to generate the PDF from. Okay.
I mean, look at that. So I mean, if you're trying to learn something or you're trying something that's not working, you can't get to work, maybe you can put that in there and it might help you get through that problem. That might be a useful tool.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kurt. Absolutely.
That's something I would use. Now, what we're doing, I'll never do that. I won't use it because it's not there yet. But maybe this.
So like so
How do I
perhaps
how do I send
I
an
heard
email?
somebody talk about the mod function, the mod operator.
There you go. Let's see what it says right
How
there
to
about mod
use mod
function.
and what is it used for? Okay, let's see what it says here. Okay, used to return the remainder of a division. This
Yep.
function requires two parameters, number required, number to divide, divisor, number to divide by, for example. If you want to find the remainder of 15 divided by 6, then use the mod function.
15,6. Yeah.
So this is sort of cool. Like, yeah, if you're just starting off with Power Apps and there's a lot of functions that you don't know yet,
Now let's get more complicated here.
let's do it, Kurt.
How do I send an email from within my app?
Send email from within my app.
Oh,
All right.
got too strong on that one, huh?
Help me send an email. Maybe it's just how you word it.
It is.
Whoa. There we go.
Look at that. It's
Just
and
try.
who said that up there? Somebody said that earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Max Sedano said it right
Max.
there. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's how you
Use
word
the
it.
prompt. Absolutely. It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. How do I access my contacts? My contacts
Okay.
to send an
Okay.
email. To send an email.
How can I access my contacts within your Outlook, right? Or your Office 365 Outlook?
Yeah.
Inside. And we said inside the app last time, right?
Yeah. There you go. Look at that. Will it do it? Nope.
Sorry. Let's rephrase it, Kurt.
Help me. You said it. You changed it to help me.
Yeah.
Send an email. Help me send an email. Help me access my contacts. Nope. Oh,
It's going.
it's
The little
going.
ball's moving.
Look at there.
Common data service connector. This will allow you to. Okay. So what this is, when you see common data service, do you know what that is?
Nope.
It's the old name for Dataverse.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So let me show you what we have here. So we'll get out of this. We'll scroll up to the top. You see tables here. We'll go to tables and we'll click on all because we want to see everything. And you go down here and look for contacts. Contact.
So I'm already going to have to put rules on the students. You're not allowed to cheat. Boy, if they had this,
every high school teacher right now, since all this Chat GPT stuff going on.
You know, if I was taking classes during this time when they had this, man, I wouldn't learn anything. I'd just be telling this thing to do everything for me.
You'd just be cheating the whole way, huh?
I would be too. I would be.
Path of least resistance. Okay. So instead of saying help me access contacts, help me access my Outlook contacts. Let's see if
wow, look at that.
There.
Well, yeah, look at that. Just look at it.
It still wants us to go to Dataverse. Oh.
Well,
do this first. Create a connection to CDS. Then create a data source using accounts activity in CDS. So there is an accounts table in Dataverse.
Yeah.
Allow you to view all your Outlook contacts within Power Apps.
Oh wow.
Really?
I might have to play with that a little bit and see if I can't get that to work. That might be
So
kind
there's
of
an
trick.
account. There's an accounts table here.
All
Let's see
right,
if there's
Jason.
any data.
Jason, you see that, Jason, right? So I want to see. I expect to see a contact list when you're bringing that lab in when you're doing the email.
So Jason, you still there? What do you think about all this Copilot stuff that we've talked about this evening?
He's just been sitting there quietly
Maybe
listening.
maybe he fell asleep on us. So guys, if you don't know, Jason is one of my accelerator students.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I do have I'm Kurt and I are creating really a program where we commit to individual students. We're looking
Yep,
just for
I'm here.
yeah, there he is. What do you think
Okay,
about this?
Jason.
Sorry, my bike got stuck. I liked it. It's good stuff.
Yeah. You think it's going to replace us anytime soon?
No.
Did you hear what I was telling you earlier? Where I said in that lab 3, I expect to see your contacts. To use the contact list for that email.
Only if you're at the top of the list so I can spam you.
Oh, that's just something else there.
And Jason has a background in software development. What are some of the traditional language that you like? I think you're a .NET developer as well, right?
Yeah.
Or you have
C
experience
Sharp,
in that?
Python.
Yeah.
Good
So
stuff.
I know people are using extensions in VS Code to create apps and stuff. I haven't messed around with that. I'm too busy with Power Apps, but sometimes I wonder. I think on the site Stack Overflow, which is a very popular site for coders to ask and answer questions, that they outlawed it. Like, hey, if we catch you using Chat GBT to answer questions,
Oh,
I think
wow.
they ban you or they discipline you somehow. I'm going to look to the comments and make sure we're up to date here. I'm going to let's see. We'll go here and let's see. How many task tables do you have under all tables? Okay, that's a good question.
Don't know.
Go back to this screen here. And let's go take a quick look here after I configure this. Okay. Tables. Yeah, maybe that's what's going on here.
It could be. Look at there.
Wow, Charles. Yeah, you're onto something here. Oh my goodness. And it generated this for us. Yeah, there's some other task table.
But you see, it gave a different. Hold on. Well, and that's what I was wondering earlier. Go back to that because if you see,
Okay.
if you look, it had a different name. You had the CCBB, and then the other one had something else
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
So
Yep. So you notice the ones that's created with the Dataverse, all these tables, or a lot of these tables are created by Dataverse. I didn't create these. In fact, typically I will prefix every database table I create in Dataverse with a prefix that identifies what app is using it
yeah,
or what department is using that. That's just something that I got into because all the apps that are created with an environment, they're all sharing the same Dataverse database within that one environment. So I always thought that was a good idea. So
right. You see K
perhaps,
customers right there. You got K customers right there below you there. That's one of mine. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and that's what we put in there.
So what I'm wondering is if we go down here to task, the one that's got the weird name, that's
Yeah,
ours. I'm going
yeah.
to go in here. I'm going to edit it. Edit. There we go. All right. I'm going to call it my task. I'm going to hit save. Let's see what this does to us. Go over here into tables. I'm going to remove tasks. Remove. And then I'm going to make sure that this is done. It is. Now I've experienced sometimes it doesn't really refresh these tables here, Dataverse, once they're created. So I'm going to hide us for a moment so we can see this pane. I want to say my task, and it's not there. So what I have to do, I save it, I close it, and I reopen it. So that's what I'll do. And we'll see if that works out. Okay. Open that guy back up. Okay. Go in here and add the data. See all tables. Hopefully it's down in the M's. There's my tasks. Okay. Now I'm going to go over to tree view. I'm going to go down to my task screen right here. And I'm going to say my tasks. Look at that.
Look at there.
Thank you so much, Charles. That's
Very
what
nice.
we needed.
Very nice,
That's
Mr.
what-
Jackson.
That's the power of community is even though Darren is so smart. Yeah, I don't necessarily know everything. The common data model includes task table. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. That was great. So based on that, we could probably go in here and so we have default for the yeah. Charles says, you're welcome. Glad it's going to be fine. Yeah. So this is something that we might have to do is, copy and paste screens from other generated apps, one table at a time. And I think we would be able to get this to work,
Right, but again, getting something to be able to work is not citizen community friendly.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it trying to get at here? Current item. Do we have a variable over here called current item, or there's something that I just am not aware of here? All right, so we got variables. Yeah, it's a variable. Task page 1, and I didn't want to go over here, but yeah, we have update context. Okay. Okay, so the on select items. Okay. On select, and then we have default. It's current item, so that's there. On select. Let me make sure that that code is there. Okay. So we've got an on select. Yeah. So incompatible type. We can't evaluate formula because context variable types are incompatible with the types of values in other places in your app. Yeah. So over here on the form, I need to make sure this is my tasks. Oh, this is why I don't like to use forms, man. Replace my data cards. Can you imagine if we spent hours customizing this form? Now, it actually ended up being okay. But if you can imagine, you go into this and go into different parts, you unlock this and you spend hours to get it just the way that you wanted it, and it reset things on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go over here and let's look at this here. So every time there's something in here where we okay, we have current item. Let's click on one of these guys. Okay. And perhaps that will reset that variable there. Go search for this, and we'll go look at all the code that references current item down here on the screen. So got that one. So that should work. And then we have down here, edit mode, new mode. Oof. Phew. Let's look at this code. Did you go to sleep on me here, Kurt?
Nope, I'm watching. I just kind of got a feeling that we've kind of gone away from exploring Copilot to fixing Copilot.
Yeah, that's true. All right, what else did we want to? I wondered if it was going to create a menu for us, and it does.
Yeah,
I really don't like the menu, but hey, it created something for us. It's got 2 little things. I mean, that's sort of like what I find people do when they're starting off with Power Apps. Is a lot of times they'll just create items, like say buttons at the top, and we'll go to the different screens. Well, guess what? Now you got to go to every screen and update it whenever you add a screen, remove a screen. Oh my goodness, it's just silly.
It's just silly.
What about code?
I really like the use of using this as a troubleshooting, like when you can't get something to work and you need some help using a function or something.
Mhm.
That I really like that. I love that about
Yeah,
this.
that's a good point, Kurt. I wonder if they have any code in app on start. No code in app on start. In fact, I don't think that they have any comments in their code. That was another question I had before we did this live stream. So, guys, I
That's
have
a good
absolutely no
point.
experience with this Copilot feature. You saw me just playing around and learning. Now, Kurt played around with it a little bit earlier today, but I didn't have time to look at it today. I just knew that I just got access to it today. And if I made myself try to learn it before I do a video, you guys would end up getting that video maybe a week later or something. So,
You know, Darren, you know, you just brought up a point. There's no comment in here. Do you remember? And I'm sure some of you guys, I bet Mr. Sexton and Cedeno, they probably know, they probably remember
mhm.
the days when you had generated code from C++, you know, Visual C. Remember that whenever it generated code, it commented it just commented like crazy. There was comments everywhere about what it was doing. They've gone away from that. And
Mm.
you know, I really, I understand that they're moving forward with things, but I don't like the way they're doing things. There's a lot of things that were in the Visual Basic editor that aren't
Mhm.
in this editor. I would like to know why, because it was so beautiful the way things worked, you know. And I love the idea that when they comment, whenever you generate code, you should comment it, you know.
Absolutely. Now, that's something I do know with ChatGPT is that you could paste over your Power FX code and say, "Hey, put comments in my code."
Nice,
Does a
nice.
pretty good job.
This might do it too.
Okay. Well,
Let's
does
try
it?
it. Let's try it.
Well, let me find some code somewhere. Task page 1. Now we've got, well, I don't want to use a screen that's currently not working. This guy right here. Okay. So if I'm in here and I say edit, well, we got a little icon here says submit form 1. Okay. So let's have it comment this. Okay.
Okay.
Comment my code for me. It would be nice if it was able to help you out inside the environment. Like, oh, you want a button? No,
I
it's just
look at
gonna
this.
it's gonna tell you how to do it.
Right. That's what, yeah. Well, well, no
So this is
cheating.
sort of cool to play around with.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know that I'll be using this to start off projects, but maybe in a few months this might come a long way, and I might be looking at it again and deciding I might give it a try, especially if it can start creating multiple tables and that AI feature right here. Let me move things around here and hit Control 0 so we can see this. If this thing was working, that would sort of be cool. I would see maybe my users of an app, they could ask questions about my Dataverse tables. That might actually be really useful, and I
Yeah.
might take another
Yeah.
look and actually start using it. So,
Now,
guys, for some reason, YouTube thinks you're going to like this video next. Let's see if they're right. Or you can select this playlist, which I've selected for you based on the content you're currently watching. Guys, got to hurry. Click one of them. Otherwise, YouTube's going to autoplay some other video, which you probably don't want. Thanks.